All right. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Muta. Bush. I need help with the name again.
What is it? Buddha. What is it? Uh,
BuDaJimMa. Welcome
Buddha
to the
Jimma.
BuDaJimMa show.
We smoking Buddha.
Jimmerson.
Tonight, we're going to be covering several topics. First of all, we'll be talking about the Roe versus Wade decision, and we'll also be talking about Supreme Court, and we've got a lot of other things that we're going to get into this evening. How's everybody doing?
Doing
Great,
great.
Actually,
man.
okay.
Awesome.
How are you doing?
I am doing fabulous. I got a
Awesome.
Swift in my hand, a drink in my hand, and some water around. I'm fab.
Enjoy.
Thank you. Thank you.
Cheers, everyone. Cheers, cheers.
So
Yes.
I know everybody saw this Roe versus Wade decision, right? And how it's been reversed. Give me some
Oh
input.
man.
What are we talking about here?
Well, before we got into that, there's always a cause and effect, and
Facts.
toxic relationships kind of get you in these situations. So we're in pop culture right now is toxic culture, where everything right now is cool to be toxic. That's kind of the thing to brag about right now is how toxic you are,
I mean,
and
Cardi B has
how
a lyric, doesn't she? Where she's like,
yeah,
broke men love a toxic broad, right? In her up song. So
yeah, something like that. Yeah, yeah. So we're in a age and culture where toxicity is okay, and then which leads us into situations that become acceptable, like i.e. Nick Cannon. Um, but what people have to understand, so this is not about Nick Cannon per se, uh, because obviously nobody in his camp is having abortions because he's like on his ninth, 10th, 11th kid. But uh, somewhere in there, that's got to be toxic behavior. However, polyandry or being polyamorous is what his situation is considered, where having multiples in a relationship, not married, because that would be considered polygamy. So you have polygamy, polyamorous, and polyandry.
Polyandry,
Um,
right?
yeah, yeah.
and his particular situation, all of these parties have agreed to have unprotected sex, and to be completely fine with the circumstances, and how he splits his time with each of these children individually. Now, everybody doesn't have Nick Cannon money either. So what happens when you find yourself in a situation like this, and it becomes very toxic, and you're not aware that you've entered yourself into a polyandrous relationship, and now you're seeking out abortion? Well, now we can't just be so free-willed with sex anymore, uh, because of that, which there also begs the controversy of contraceptives, because we are talking about abortion, but why aren't we talking about contraceptives as well?
Facts, facts. So look, let me jump in really quick. So to the men on the show, do you really like toxic broads?
No, man. Who would like a toxic broad? But you know what? This all comes down to education. We are so backwards in this country. Instead of the people that are going to suffer from this is black women, Spanish women, and really, I'm not going to say trailer park white trash women are going to
Jimmy,
suffer.
Jimmy, I have to
Uh,
interrupt and say that toxic people cross the realm of age, race, gender,
Yeah,
wealth, and all of that. Because
right.
there are some crazy, like, let's look at the. I mean, first of all, we started off talking about Amber Heard and Johnny Depp. That was a toxic situation to begin with, right?
Yeah.
for sure.
So, I mean, but keep going with your message, brother. I ain't mean to cut you off.
Wait, I'm
No,
sorry.
it's okay.
I need to chime in on what Jimmy said. Jimmy, I'd like to beg to differ. Everybody's been saying, including the Black community, how this affects us. But here's a statistical number for you guys. No matter how, we're not a minority anymore. However, in the good old country of U.S., we are still not the larger number. The Caucasian numbers are the highest in the country. So we're not the ones that are high on the totem pole getting abortions. That's another myth and misperception. But you
No,
guys carry on.
I was never saying that, and I agree with you. And the black 13% in this country, Spanish are I think 6 or 7. But what I was trying to get at is that regardless of where it is, the people that don't have money are the ones that are going to suffer, that can't go to another state where they allow this to happen. But what's dangerous, when were you guys born? I mean, I was 12 years old in 1972 when Roe Verses Wade came into effect. And all I remember is how many doctors were getting killed, how many clinics that were giving abortions when it was illegal were bombed. I remember women dying. And this is Walter Cronkite saying this month, 33 women died, boom, just in New York City from having illegal abortions. No matter what, the situation is, you're not going to stop it. The situation with contraceptive is it has to be taught in schools. You have to prepare safe sex. You have to prepare everything. But unfortunately, what unfolds is schools are bad, parents aren't there. And I'm not going to mention anybody's color or race. It's just happening all over the place. But the poor people are going to suffer here like they did in the 70s. And it was horrible. I used to ask my mother, why are all these women dying? And well, you know, they're going to illegal clinics or they're getting it done from Joe Schmo who failed in medical school. We're actually going backwards. I guarantee you that the now SCOTUS is going to be stopping same-sex marriage. They're going to be bringing it back to where they wanted in the 40s and 50s. Everything's going to go underground. It's going to get dark and dirty. And this is the
But aren't they already doing that with the surgeries and the BBLs? Isn't that already
That's what
happening?
I was going to say. The BBLs. They're still
these girls are still putting themselves at risk with just the same amount of danger. With
but guess what? There's free clinics.
There's free clinics for.
But we're talking about the illegal underground stuff.
The illegal underground stuff. Women are still willing to
put themselves at risk
or in somebody's basement.
Yeah, but it's only 1%. It's only 1% of the value of what it was in the 70s, because everything is illegal now and you have free clinics. In New York, there's I think there's 12 or 13 clinics. Mainly.
Wait. I think we missed the point. So she was comparing Brazilian butt lifts and breast jobs and tummy tucks.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we were talking about abortion, and I apologize. Yes, you're right.
You're right.
Because but that's bad. You're right, Dutch. That's really bad.
This is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So
because
women. Yeah. So what I'm saying is, women already before, you know, they were going to get illegal abortions and so forth, and that really didn't slow up. You just didn't hear it. You don't hear as much about it. But now they're even if it's not an abortion, women are still putting their lives at risk, be it in a basement or in a clinic, just to achieve a certain aesthetic. So
yes, I agree.
The thing that people are worried
consequences to that, because it should be stipulations on certain things. Obviously, rape, stuff like that. Yeah,
I do. I agree.
There should be more stipulations. I think there should be levels to the shit, because that's just how I feel about it. Because you can't just go, So if it's rape, obviously, yeah. If there's some other terrible thing, yeah. But anything else, you should be brought to court and you should be punished for that type of stuff. That's how I think about it. You know what I mean?
It's like saying it's like sending a message, and this is me personally. I don't perceive anybody else's on the show's opinion, so this is my opinion only. I don't particularly believe in abortion unless it is under certain circumstances and guidelines. And when I say that, that does cover incest as well, because not everybody's cousin is sleeping with somebody's cousin. With their own cousin, is it really truly a sexual assault? Right. Some people are willfully sleeping with their cousins and their siblings and so forth and so forth. And we won't put that in one particular demographic. We won't say it's in the hood or the trailer park or here or there.
That's
It's
right.
happening in many different places that you don't know that it happens. So I do think it should be a stipulation, because I think at one point we were saying, oh, if it's incest or if it's rape. When you use incest, be very careful how you say that, because not all ancestral activity is forceful activity. Some people are willingly screwing their cousins. You understand what I'm saying? And then when the consequence, you have the blanket of a blanket of a security of, oh, well, there's abortion. You know, if something happens and comes of this, you can go get. So I don't hear people screaming about contraceptive being used, because there are female, you can't depend on a male, because there are female contraceptives. There are also female condoms.
That's
Nobody
right.
talks about female condoms. You don't hear about them because so many people are worried about the aesthetic of everything. Even with condoms, it's not just so much the feel. People are so concerned of what the aesthetic looks like. That's why you don't see a lot of them in porn. At one point, you saw condoms pop up in porn, but people are less likely to click on pornography that has somebody using a condom, because it doesn't look realistic. So because of the aesthetic of it all, you have all of this, and then you have diseases and so much. You come back with much more than a baby. So contraceptive, using them should be just as big as a conversation as everybody being in an uproar about abortion, because it is not a form of birth control.
That's
But
right.
somehow it's become a form of birth control. So guess what? We can't get abortions. We got Plan B. So now everybody's rushing for
But
the
you
Plan
know
B.
what? Let me ask you, and that's what I was going to bring up, the Plan B, right? So
Okay.
Plan B costs you about $50, right?
I have no
You
idea.
can agree it's about $50.
Okay.
Abortions are running probably people $300-$400, if not more, in certain areas, right? So
Probably more than that.
if they slipped up, why wouldn't they just go buy a damn Plan B
Well,
before it even became a fetus?
so
Do you
here's the
know?
other thing. Why is it celebratory? So here's my question. I get that people are in up, it's your choice, it's your right. I absolutely, now don't mistake what I'm saying. I absolutely believe that everyone, male or female, should govern their own right to choice over their own body at a certain age. I'm going to say why I think at a certain age. Because at 16, because when you say governing your own body, this also includes sexual transitions as well. So we
That's
have to
right.
cover anything that covers a transition of you editing and doing anything different with your body, i.e. abortion, transitioning into another gender. Once you are 18 plus and able to make those decisions, yes, I do think, unless you have no parental guidance and you have no sort of guardianship over you that allows somebody to help make those decisions for you. However, if you are under the age of 18, when it comes to something such as abortion, because let's not forget, abortions do have a long-term effect on the female body. You could
It
possibly
does.
never be able to have children again, and
Yeah,
other
it is
things might
damaging,
cause.
right?
So
Yeah,
you have to think about all of these things before. Now, we're not talking about under situation of rape. We're not talking about under situation of somebody being mishandled and mistreated in an illegal criminal situation. But under a normal circumstance, it is not a form of birth control. So what do you do when you have a 16-year-old that's saying, hey, me and another 16-year-old, we got not somebody older, somebody within a 4-year, their age range, we got caught fooling around, and now one's pregnant. Now, do you make them face those consequences so they can understand life itself? Do we not be celebratory about a fetus and then turning into a child being able to live? Or do we teach them, well, you know what, we want you to go off to college and we don't want him to ruin his life and we don't want you to ruin your life. Go get an abortion. Which one is the right one? Which message is the right message to send?
I think it depends. I think it depends on the scenario. I think it depends on the situation. Let's
Okay.
talk about inner city. Let's use inner city youth, right? And they are very young, and this guy may have gotten his scholarship to go off to college,
Okay.
right? And the family may be looking at it from the point of, we can't even afford the kids we got. How are we gonna feed this baby as well?
yeah. There's a lot of scenarios with that, but I agree with Dutch. It should be 18 years old. There has to be a limit and restrictions on everything.
Oh,
You know,
definitely.
Yeah, we're in a real crisis, and again, I was very young when Roe and Wade came into process, but I didn't see all the bombings on clinics and these doctors being murdered and beat up and car bombed. I mean, it was bad. That stopped, and there was a normalcy to things. But again, Dutch, you're right. We really can't tell anybody. I can't go to your house and tell you how you got to live and what you got to do, and you can't do that. And I agree, you can't. Even though we don't think it's right. Hey, I don't think abortion's right, but I also can't tell that person or that woman. Circumstances, 16 years old. You're right, Dutch. That's where the problem is. You got these kids running around, really rebellious. They either are dumb-witted to not know, or they didn't have a parent telling them. You guys are both sound educated and your life's together, you're married or whatever, but you got your life together, you got a job. It might have been your doing, not your parents' doing, but a lot of people are not strong enough to realize what they're doing. They're just foolish and childish. And that's what a lot of these abortions are. And, one thing de Blasio did good was that he opened up these clinics so these women weren't going. I don't want to see the dark ages come back, because that's what's going to happen. You're going to get these doctors that are going to start doing these abortions. Yeah, I'll do your abortion for $250, $300. This is a dangerous thing, man. That's what I don't like.
I do think that they should have implemented, instead of saying, okay, there is no black and white. I do not believe that this is a black and white situation.
Oh, no, absolutely not. I agree.
I think what they should have done was, just like I said about age restrictions, with abortion, it should be, even with this gender thing, anything having to do with altering or transitioning something to do with your body with a medical procedure that could possibly damage you for the rest of your life, and something like that, it's and also psychologically, because in both situations you do have to get counseling before either one of those procedures, before you go through a medical transition for gender or before you get an abortion. You're required to go through some sort of, so if you're required to go through something psychological and talk to somebody, that's enough.
You can't hear us?
You can't hear us?
We hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you fine.
Hey, listen, there's a lot of things we can't change.
So here's what I propose and what I think should happen. I think for women, since no, you can't tell somebody what to do with their body, but you can also protect other people that are involved with you, because there might be a man that might be totally against you aborting his offspring. So here's what I think. Even for people that are cheaters, let's talk about the reality of abortion is not just really used for people that are being abused and so forth. A lot of this happens from carelessness and people feeling like I had a oops situation. Okay, something that was supposed to be used for unwanted situations or pregnancies, but this has become again a tool for birth control. Now, what I do think is, if you are between the age of, let's just say, 18 to 22, you can, or let's say 18, I'm just throwing numbers out here, 18 to 23, you should be able to make that decision as long as you're able to prove that you're single, and you would have to have some sort of reason of doing so. If you are marital age, I think you should be able to prove whether you are married or not, so that way you have to have your husband's consent as well. That will alleviate a lot of shit, that whether you're cheating or whether, if it's something
that's
that
a
both
good point.
people agree on.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
It will put, when you start, you don't have to take something away, but you can put stipulations on certain shit, so that way it limits the amount of people doing things for the wrong reason. Well, shit, I don't want to tell my husband, so I'm either going to be less likely to fuck around unprotected, or, you understand what I'm saying?
I'm not going to fuck around at all.
I'm not going to fuck around at all. You understand what I'm saying? Same thing with men. if a man has to pay for an abortion, well, this girl's got to go in, and who's paying for it? Number one. Number two, she's got to explain why she needs it. You know, if you start putting stipulations and making shit harder for people to do for the bullshit, you'll have less reason to have this type of things going on. And then you'll have more usage of people using condoms and contraceptives and so forth. And then you can weed out who's actually using this as a form of birth control as rather than senseless sex and just doing what you want to, because modern day, everybody's free with their body.
True facts, true facts. Hey, Moo, Bush, what you got to say, man?
Nah, we just need some stiffer consequences, I think, just to be looked at, closer as far as, that the thing of taking a life. Because if it's like I said, certain instances, like rape and other things, obviously, but there should be stiffer consequences, I think. That's all, because I'm not with taking life. I'm not with that at all. So.
No, man, absolutely not. I agree with you, Mook.
You got to be more responsible with your vagina and with your penis. Let's just put it out there. You got to be more responsible. Hey, let me jump
to the comments real quick. We only got two of them. One is S. Young. Salute to the panel. So what's up to S. Young?
S. Young.
Yep. What up, S. Young?
S. Young also said it gets a lot worse when you understand how much an aborted baby goes for on the black market. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, that's the danger of everything. No matter what now, these dark corners are going to start opening up.
When you start talking about tissue and stem cells and what he's referring to, these things do go for a lot on the black market, because
that's right.
all of this tissue and stuff that's vacuumed, as heinous as it might sound, what these are used for is stem cell research for other medical purposes and researches for cancers and so forth. So in a sense, it's very true. Absolutely.
That's true, yes.
Yeah, good point. Good point, Esther. Wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah, man.
What was the other comment?
Oh, that was it was the same person twice. Shout out to Esther.
Okay. Yeah.
Hey guys, now of course I'm a man, you're women. If you knew somebody in your family or your little niece made a mistake and fooled around with somebody, would you intervene in that with their mother, or could be your sister, could be your first cousin? What would be your reaction to somebody in your family that was going through that?
Well, what do you mean intervene?
I was gonna say give more context of fooling around. In what sense?
Okay, say she was with her boyfriend, she got pregnant, she tells the mother, might call you up crying. Are you gonna get heavily and emotionally involved in that situation?
What's the age?
I'm sorry?
What's the age? What's the age group?
16 years old.
Okay.
So I will say that one of my greatest regrets is a conversation that I had with a family member a while back. And this young man and his woman were about to have a child. And I wasn't on board. I was like, look, man, you're too young to do this. There are other options. Like, you can think of other ways. Because I was looking at his life from the standpoint of, like, this is going to be hard. I know you already come from a hard situation. And, like, this could potentially ruin you.
Did they listen to you?
Yeah. No, they didn't. And thank God they didn't. Thank fucking God they didn't. Because honestly, one of the greatest blessings in the world came from that situation.
Right.
And I think because back then I was still young-minded, and I'm very career-minded. I'm very career-strung and things like that. And so because I was like that, it was just, it overwhelmed me to the point that I made bad choices. And I tried to convince this person to make a very bad decision. Right. And I'm glad they said, screw you. We're going to do what we think is right. And again, best blessing in the world.
Did you feel bad now? I mean, you're feeling bad about how you were reacting to that?
Yeah.
That affected you even now? Like, it gives you a guilty conscience. Why would I do that? And you see this. Yeah. This is the consequences of a lot of this. This spreads so deeply. And, you
Yeah, you
know, and
can't play
again,
with
that's
life.
why I
You know,
asked
you
you
want to know
guys
what you're
that if
taking in.
you experienced that. Mook, did you ever know anybody or somebody in your family that was going through that?
Yeah, several people, you know, but like I said, you know, I don't agree with you know, you never know what miracle you got. You never know what's coming up that could change the world. Sometimes, unfortunately, I think, you know, you just gotta go ahead with it. Handle your
Yeah.
responsibility, grab your shit, and handle your damn business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Facts. Hey, Dutch, what you got to say on it?
So my sister, she got pregnant with my nephew at around that age. My
Wow.
mother, I'm also me and my mother, there's a 15-year difference between us. If y'all don't know, I'll be 44 this year.
Bless you.
Um, Thank you. My mother is not even
Why is
60
it keep
yet.
doing? That's crazy.
So my mom, she's not 60 yet. She's in her I think she was born in 63. I was born in 78. So we're very, very close in age. And here's what I'm going to say about that, and to give you a little back history. We were always taught to believe that if you lay up, you take care of that responsibility. So
Right.
so me coming from a parent that's only 15 years older, like I said, you didn't hear it. My mother was born in 63. I was born in 78. There's only a 15-year difference between us.
See?
Same thing
Wow.
with,
And you wouldn't have been here.
So you're
right,
living,
right.
yeah, you're living
I'm
that.
a living testament to what
That's right.
happens in certain situations, and why I have personal stake in why I don't believe in this, because I wouldn't be sitting here. You understand what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? My
Yeah.
nephew, he just graduated in May. He just also turned 18 within that same week. And that was never a conversation. My sister she's also a lesbian now. So she only had one encounter with the male, and my nephew came of that. She wasn't assaulted. It wasn't an assault situation. So because my mom went through that, and because we're living, her oldest child is a living testament. My mom, it wasn't something that my sister could say, well, what if this or what if that.
Every time I
My
get a
mom was
call,
like, no, we don't do abortion. One, because we were Catholic. That's number one. So it wasn't heard of. Number two, my mother's take on it was, listen, if I was able to raise you and raise y'all, you understand what I'm saying? And my father was active in my life. So I wasn't a stereotypical kid where I didn't have my father, but they were still young. My father was 17. My father was 16. He was 17 when I was born. My mother was 14 and had me when she was 15. My grandmother said, make it happen. So instead, my grandmother involved herself. And that's usually what people in the community did. When you had a teenage pregnancy, nobody rushed you to go get an abortion. You understand what I mean? No matter how scared you were, you either got your ass sent away to the country or something like that, or you might have even lived the lie that, your sibling, pretended like your siblings, but really in reality, grandma ain't really your mom. Your mom was really your grandmother
Yeah.
raising you. And these were common things, but families figured it out. Abortion back then was not your go-to.
That's
That's
right.
why it was such a back closet, backyard thing to do. You know what I
That's
mean? That's
right.
why it was
That's
such a
right.
secret thing. Even if you had the baby and got sent away, and the mother pretended like it was a child of her own, even in some families, if they could afford it, they sent you away to a convent. You
That's
know what I
right.
mean? So there were a
Yeah.
lot of different options before there was even the leave your baby, the safe haven for the babies. So they have safe havens for babies to be dropped off and left. They have a lot of different scenarios. So for me, no, abortion is absolutely out of the question.
Yeah, this is heartfelt, and I really appreciate you sharing that, both of you guys, because it's awesome. Because you could have been a product of that abortion and not even be here.
Yeah.
And look at now, and that's what's amazing. This is how you really make a connection, because I did have my niece, and she did have an abortion. She died died of an overdose, but I experienced that as well, and it's really horrifying. And she was, I think, 21 at the time, and I
Oh
did
wow.
say, "Hey, look, if you guys ain't getting along, that doesn't mean you're going to kill your child."
Yeah.
And, but this is how close this is. This is where we're experiencing the emotion and the life that you Dutch actually, if that was in their belief to say, hey, you know what, I'm too young, you're too young. Think about that, So yeah, that's why I don't believe in abortion either, because you're
This
living
space
through
would be
that.
totally filled with, there would be somebody else in this space right now. The
That's right.
chain of events that would have happened, and that's just how life works. There's a whole chain of events. I
That's
don't
right.
know who my kid's mother would have been. You would really literally wipe out a whole history of everything that I've done and would not exist,
That's right. And this is why I asked,
something like that.
because yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Just to jump to some comments. So remember how we talked about how aborted babies how much they go for in the black market? As
Yeah.
Young also said, that's why some politicians push for up until the birth abortions. The older, the more profitable. That's sick. That's sick as shit.
Stem cells, man. More
Yeah.
tissue.
Ray Jones says, "Bull light, hey,
Hey, hey.
and the black
Yeah,
community is
that's
40,000,
crazy, man.
40 million short today."
What happened?
S. Young also says the black community is 40 million short today.
I mean, let's not. I mean,
I don't know what that
we're
means.
we're also talking about organs as well. I understand what he's saying.
Yeah.
That goes into organs and not even to make it a color thing. Organs in general for the rich, for the rich. You understand? So
Are hard to
these
come by. Yeah.
the tissue and the stem cells for the aborted fetuses on top of organs for adult human beings, everything can be sold, including your melanin, which is, I forgot how many, I think almost $400 per gram. So all the way to your melanin, everything up into your teeth are profitable for your government.
So
And
think
that
how
is the scary
isn't that
shit.
sinister? Is that not sinister?
Hell yeah, that's sinister. Yes, it is scary.
This is the people that you have in this world that actually don't care about human life, or taking somebody's kidney or killing them and taking whatever.
About money, of course.
It's all money. The Mexicans with the 51 people that died, same shit, man.
Yeah, man.
Do you know? Do
wow, this
y'all
is
know
really
what your
this.
skin is sold as?
Let's
Do
see
you
if this
know?
phone line works, because we use a new number. As Young, call up. I want to hear your point of view. I want to hear a little more from you. Call up if you
please
can.
call up.
Your skin is sold as
Ray
leather.
Jones, too.
Your skin is sold as leather. Are y'all aware of that?
Yep.
Yep.
Hey, look at what they did in World War II. Look at what they did in World War II. They were cutting the tattoos and making lamps out of the human skin, from the Jews. They were cutting their hair and their teeth. Listen, you could not get me and give me a pair of pliers and go take gold teeth out of some dead body's mouth. I'm sorry. These are sinister people.
The skin was also used for leathers for shoes. So human leather, and look this up if you guys care to at some point. Human leather is far more, but it's a very real thing. As crazy as it might sound, it is a very real, very common practice where human leather is probably one of the most expensive type of leathers you could get your hands on to make a very nice pair of loafers.
All right. Well, at least I know my J's are made out of some straight cow leather. So shout out to Nike.
I got a couple of, I can't lie, I have a few human leather skin shoes that I really like to wear. I'm thinking of buying another pair, but we'll see, see how it goes. I don't know, man. It's just so radical, I don't know, man.
And it's crazy shit. But look, Jim, you mentioned the whole thing about those folks being left in that trailer, man. That was some heartbreaking shit.
Well, that's the cold people that are in this world. Think about that.
Bullshit.
Ain't that back around my way?
Yeah, so, man, in San Antonio, dog.
I would love to, on the outside, it is a very sad thing to everybody. It's a sad, loss of life is always very sad, but let me be very real with y'all.
Man, especially for that reason, man.
I grew up in Texas. Do y'all know how often this happens? Because of the transportation of illegal Mexicans coming through, and don't believe the hype. it's not just Mexicans. You're only hearing Mexicans. Y'all have to think it's Central Americans coming too.
Yeah.
People
El
from
Salvador,
Guatemala and all of
Well, I
Guatemala.
that. So
believe these people were from Guatemala and Honduras. I don't think they were Mexican. It was the Mexicans. The three men they arrested were Mexican who were
well,
transporting them.
yeah, so that's what
But
happens. They intermix. So everybody's trying to get across the wall. So they intermix because one, it's Spanish speaking. It's just like any. It's just no different than us going back and forth to Canada. Do you
that's
Yeah.
understand
right.
what I'm saying? If you're English
Yeah.
speaking. So what happens is they can have easy access into Mexico. Now you have to have access. Mexico is a point of entry to come here for Central Americans and for Mexicans. So what's happening is what's always happened since I've been a small child. What's happening is you're having them come through the borders and these big rigs, and because there's no ventilation, they're suffocating, and that's what's killing them. It's them being
Mhm.
piled. It's a ton of them being piled up into this very confined space
Wow.
Can
with
you
no
imagine that,
ventilation.
man?
Now I want you guys to
So they
remember the
probably
heat
were
wave.
dead before they even hit the U.S.
So I want you to think about the heat wave that we're experiencing. This is a worldwide heat wave across many nations. People are
For sure.
experiencing this crazy heat wave.
And
So
no
you
ACs
take the
in them
heat
joints.
wave, right? Take the heat wave into account of a container, body heat and oxygen, carbon dioxide. People are breathing in their own. You understand? You take all of that. It's modern. It's like a modern day slave ship on wheels,
Yeah,
except for these
man.
people are
That's
trying to get to freedom. And before they even get here, between the humidity, all the bodies, it's
Wow.
suffocating them. So that's
Wow.
what's killing them. And I only know this because this happens more times than not coming across our borders. This is a very common thing. Very, very common. It's sad.
hey,
It
Dutch.
is.
Texas was really, I mean, it really is like a cowboy town. I
Yeah,
mean,
Wild Wild
my
West,
friend,
man. Yeah.
yeah, my friend said he's drove through a town one time and he actually heard machine gun fire and blasting, cops shooting down a neighborhood with armored vehicles from the police, SWAT teams. Is that true? I mean, is Texas that crazy?
Dude, it's the Alamo is there. But
So
Yeah,
let me say
you're right,
this.
babe. I forgot about the Alamo.
Texas, because so these gun laws that everybody's experiencing, this shit ain't new for us. Texas has always been the wild wild west. We've always had very relaxed gun laws, and that stems from cattle rustling. So our gun laws come from people stealing cattle and shit like that. So you can't just make a law for one type of person. You have to make a law for everybody.
Right,
So when you
right.
have people coming onto all of these ranches and shit, stealing your cows and breaking into your homes, now they had this one kid that broke into a car. So essentially the law is called the Make My Day law, after Dr. Clint Eastwood. So it's called essentially the Make My Day law. So that means basically anybody, including the police, if you do not have a warrant, you cannot enter my property. If you do, I can shoot the shit out of you, and then I can ask you questions later. Texans are very proud of this law because we are known
Son of a
for
gun,
our
man.
guns. I'm telling you, we're known for our guns. But just as well as we have lax gun laws, we also have the largest amount of prisons in the US. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Texas is also known for executing children as well. So you see, that's how they feel like they keep the balance. Do you understand? They execute babies, but they allow you to have guns at damn near any age. And the gun laws are very relaxed. We have a border problem, but what they don't tell you about being from Texas is, I think personally, just growing up there, I think they allow a certain amount of illegals to come in. And I
Oh
think when
yeah.
they feel like they have enough, then that's when they start enforcing, because Border Patrol is all over Texas. We call it La Migra. You understand what I'm saying? For y'all that don't speak
Mm.
Spanish, that's immigration.
And
And La
let's say
Migra,
Texas
They call
and
that
California.
San
Border
yeah,
Patrol is
yes,
all
Diego.
over
Word.
both of those states.
yes.
Yeah.
So you have to understand, Wild Wild West, the shooting and all of that shit depends on where you're at. We do have a very big, the Mexican cartel shit, that is very real.
Oh yeah.
Gang violence, very real.
Amen.
Crossing of the border with drugs and weed. Texas was also known for supplying coke to New York for many years. You understand what I'm saying? So we do have a
Sure.
lot of drugs that run through Texas. So we're going to have gun violence no matter what. we're going to have a high number of incarceration no matter what. And that shit ain't got no color to it, because we have lots of land there that have the trailer parks. We have a shit ton of those. That's where they create meth. We have a lot of ghettos. That's where they cook dope. You understand what I'm saying? We have a lot of rich white folks. That's where you get all the coke. So you're going to have an abundance of everything from every corner, every map there, including gun violence, because everybody there's packing, whether you're high class, low class, middle class, any class. You know what I mean? So it is.
It's so
scary.
awesome to hear this, because I was always fascinated with Texas. And my friend said it's like the Wild West, people walking on the street with their 6-shooter out or their pistol, firearm exposed. It's crazy, man.
It is.
You want me to tell you what you get?
Before you do that, Dutch, I'm going to jump to a couple of comments. S. Young is all over the place over here, man.
Okay.
Back when we were talking about stem cells, he says studies, or S. Young says studies being mentioned that melanated is more profitable. Excuse me.
Yes.
And then he agreed with something. And the coyotes were caught in California and then released the next day. So I guess the guys that did this to these people was caught and released. And then, excuse me, Dot Young also said, "I love my state." And I guess
I think my boy in Texas.
Yeah.
Oh, he must be from Texas. Oh,
that's what it sounds like. That's what
shout out to the crib, boy. Shout out to the crib.
Man. Represent your state.
So I'm saying, so is he familiar with the laws that I'm talking about?
Wait. I'm not assuming it's a male or female. It's S. Young.
He a male. I think I talked to him.
I was going to say, I thought he was a male. Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
Cool.
So here's the thing: we're not walking around with 6-shooters and shit like that, bruh. But however,
doesn't it depend on the town?
So growing up, it's very common for a girl like me. Okay, so I'm 43, almost 44. I am accustomed to other chicks like me, and we're pretty rough around the edges. Again, it ain't no color thing. Most of us grew up with guys that either taught us how to do an oil change, taught us how to change a tire and shit like that. And 9 times out of 10, by the time you were 16, depending on where you grew up, you already went out to the woods to learn how to, your first thing was a shotgun. So, and these were things that are a rite of passage where I'm from. Going out to the woods to learn to go hunting and shit and learning how to protect yourself as a young woman. These are a rite of passage. So we don't really look at it as a danger. We look at that shit as, hey, the locks on my doors are for your protection, not for mine. And if I decide I want to go hunt too, you understand what I'm saying? We're going to bring something back. You know what I mean?
So that's interesting, man.
It is a difference in how we grew up versus how it can be misconstrued as just being wild and shit. We're very big on manners, but it's funny. I want y'all to look at our gun laws versus our litter laws, because the worst thing that you could do in Texas is litter. Not shoot a motherfucker. It's litter.
That's funny, man.
And S. Young said, "Yes, ma'am." So yes, Texas it is.
Absolutely. Cheers to you, good man.
Yeah, but you know what people want to hear about?
What? R. Kelly?
About that. Yes, that freak boy R. Kelly.
Oh man,
that is some bullshit.
I refer to Dave Chappelle, man.
But the man should have got life. Racketeering and federal trafficking.
Again, I do have a question. Now that we're on the air, I would like to know.
Aaliyah alone.
Him and Maxine. Well, what's her last name? Giselle or whatever. Epstein's right hand. Did R. Kelly get more time because of the racketeering? Because racketeering is a very serious crime.
Yeah,
so
especially
did he get more time because of the racketeering, and also transporting a minor across state lines as well is also
federal
a very
offense.
Serious crime. Yes.
It came into the federal. Came into the federal jurisdiction.
Shit, Illinois would have let him off like they did the first time. The feds had to come get his butt.
Maxine didn't pee on nobody either, as far as we know.
Hey, have you guys seen the Dave Chappelle video?
Oh yeah. Oh my
I'm sorry. He is the funniest guy on the face of the earth, man. There was nobody funnier than that dude. But when I saw that, I listen. You know, he's got 2 daughters. This guy got caught with his pants down. Yeah, it really affected him once he broke those federal
He
laws.
shouldn't have got 30 years. You said he should have got less than that.
30,
Nah, he should
less
have
than
got
30.
more.
Who's in it?
Hey, man, listen, Moot, what happens if it was your daughter? I'm going to ask you that question. What happens if it was your daughter?
He's out of here.
No, he's out of here, right?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, so then 30 years ain't that bad for his crime. And I
30 years
think
isn't
Epstein's
enough.
assistant
The
should have
trauma
got
that he
60
caused
years.
to them children,
What?
the trauma that he
So you
caused to
think-
those girls, 30 years isn't enough. Peeing on people? Come on.
Hey, listen, it's enough to ruin and destroy his life and sit in madness. I want to tell you something. 30 years is a long time, and he's going to be in jail for 30 years. He might get out in 10. I could probably guarantee that on good behavior, whatever. What he deserves, man, he deserves to be dragged through the streets. If that
Okay.
was my daughter, I'd ninja his ass.
I was going to ask, how much is it worth?
I think
How
R.
much
Kelly had
time
help.
is it worth for somebody to pee on you? Shit.
Wait a
If
minute,
they
hold
piss
on.
on you, how much?
But listen, that's just the shit that he's famous for. R. Kelly did
Fuck
far worse than just pissing on somebody.
Oh, yeah.
So
He riding his shit
I
on
think-
somebody. Biggie wasn't
Wait.
playing about that.
he
I
made
agree.
the one girl.
Yes, I agree,
he
man.
He made the one girl eat it. She ate the caca. She ate the
What?
caca. Yeah, she ate the
Oh,
caca.
hell no. How
That
much
was the
would
one-
it be worth for him to make you do that shit? How much time is it worth for you?
The fact that she told anybody.
Man,
that
I'm
she
sorry.
told
That's a
anybody about it.
lifetime.
I don't get all this. You got to forgive me, man. This is insane. I couldn't even.
Wait. There was
Wow.
a boy. Y'all are forgetting. There was a boy. Don't forget the boy that was involved. And the other girl that got away.
Yeah, I
the
read
last girl
that.
that got away that he was making dress up like a boy and do boy stuff. Don't
Oh,
forget
yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, there
he
was
had the
some
girl that ate the
sinister
caca.
shit, man.
The girl that ate the caca. Then the fact that he was passing herpes around like fucking hotcakes. He was just here like Oprah. You get some herpes. You get some herpes. Everybody get herpes. So don't
No.
forget he passed that shit around. Yes, absolutely.
No,
There's
I'm
herpes.
saying he should have got life. Life.
Yeah. So he
Yeah, I'm so.
passed-
I know. You know, I
He
agree,
been living
man.
for 30 years, Jimmy. 30
But
years
30
is not
years is
enough.
going to destroy his life. You
I
know.
got one
Him.
question. One
Fuck
question.
him.
It could be the one.
He's gonna
One
be done in
question.
there too. They're gonna do him
How
real good in there. You
scared-
better believe it.
How scared do you have to be of a man to eat your own shit out of a cup?
Yeah,
Or
I'm
however
sorry.
you-
Screw this guy,
okay.
man. We should be protesting this piece of garbage. He should be getting life. I agree with you, babe.
See,
This
you
is an
understand?
animal. This is animal shit.
So look.
But these are the things that he actually did. We can talk
Yeah,
about
that's
him peeing on
crazy.
somebody. We could talk about RICO violations. We could talk. R. Kelly humiliated. He violated. These things that he did were beyond vile. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree, man.
There's plenty of people that peed on somebody.
Says,
This is beyond
Epstein
vile.
is way worse.
Yeah.
Well, I could agree with that.
Oh.
Yeah, I could.
He
I
says
could
it's
see
just
that.
dripping out. It's dripping out slowly. And then
And how
he
much
said
did he
about
do?
R. Kelly, they hit him with the RICO. They want them.
Hey, no.
both of them to
Y'all
talk.
forgetting somebody. Y'all forgetting somebody, and I don't know why this guy.
But wait.
Every
Before you
time.
say that,
Hugh Hefner.
No, but we'll come back to him. Before you say that, what was the lady's name? Weinstein's bride, Marguerite.
No, that's Maxine.
Maxine.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's
she has a
Maxine.
list of powerful elites from the Clintons on down. That's the reason she probably didn't get that much time.
But you
Okay,
know what?
but-
When you're a star and you got that star status and you're taking advantage of, see, that's a whole nother level when you're a celebrity, a superstar on TV all the time and you're like a star. To me, that's just a whole nother level of, of like just taking advantage of just
Kids, man.
disgustingism, you feel me?
He called
Yeah,
himself
okay,
the
but-
fucking Pied Piper.
Again, hold that thought. Again, Hugh Hefner, Bill Cosby,
Yeah.
that whole situation. All these motherfuckers have been friends. All of them
Yeah,
have
but he
hung
was
out at some
R.
point
Kelly
in
was a
time.
Kevin
pop
Spacey.
star.
You had Hugh, again, had young ass 12-year-old Brooke Shields on the cover
Facts
of
of Playboy.
Playboy.
Yep, yep,
12 years old at 12.
yeah.
All this shit that's coming out about Hugh, y'all know, you got to remember, Bill touched that 15-year-old girl. Where were they at? They were at the Playboy Mansion. They wasn't at Bill's place.
Nope.
They were at the Playboy Mansion. You think that was the only young girl that Hugh was running through there? This human trafficking thing been going on for a long time, man. It's
Dorothy
just a lot of
Stratton,
them.
17 years old, man, murdered at 20 from
A
their
lot of these
games.
girls.
Hey, did you guys ever hear of the clothing magnate Nygaard? He owns that house with those fake concrete slabs. Sean Connery, he gave Sean Connery an island. Let me
Yeah.
tell you about this animal and what goes on in that world with Epstein. This is all Epstein. He would literally have parties on his island. You would have to fly down to the end of Florida and then take a seaplane over and land in the water to get to his house in the Caribbean. Well, he had the Fuji model. I was actually with her in Europe, and she said, "Oh, I'm going to a party," and the guy that was controlling the party for this guy Nygaard was Epstein. They got a hold of her. I think there was 30 other women, and they put them all on this hallucinative drug. And they literally raped them and had an orgy. And yeah, Bill Cosby, all of them, Hugh Hefner. Man, it was disgusting. That's the main reason why I got out of the business was because of these acts. I mean, I was and go to Romania. Come on, hang out, Jim. I'm like, man, that's not my game. That's not my thing. I'm sorry. I'm not into it, you know. I'm a very realistic person. I want one woman in my life, not into all this craziness, man. These people were animals.
But this stuff has been going on for years, right?
Yeah,
So,
man,
like, I was
forget it.
watching a documentary on Prime, Girl 37, and it was basically talking about like how they tricked these girls into thinking they were coming into an acting gig back in like the 30s and shit, right? And they raped these women.
Clinton, man, Clinton was involved, man. I tell you, it breaks my heart. It really does, because who the fuck are these people? Pardon my expression, ladies. Who are these animals to do that to another human being? You know, this is where I draw the line. This is where I get emotional. That's why I hated those people. I hated my partner, Jules Nasso, Steven Seagal, a Brazilian girl. As soon as she turned 18 years old, he sent her back. I don't even want to tell you what he did to this girl. She handed me a note, okay? And Steven Seagal comes up to us. She goes, "Hey, is everything all right?" And I said, "Steven, why wouldn't anything be all right?" So I kindly said, "Excuse me, I went to the bathroom." You know what the note said? "Please, can you help me? Can you help me? I don't know what to do. I need to get away from him." I come out from reading this note and they're gone. I said to Jules, "Jules, look at this woman. This woman's in danger." "Ah, Jimmy, let it go. Let it go. Yeah, he'll have his fun." He'll have his fun.
Wow.
And I went like, you know what I said to him? I said, "What's with you people?" I said, "You know, Jules, I love the art of the movie. I did my movie not to be a movie. I did it for art. We did it in 17 days, right, Mook? Was there any craziness? It was a movie. It was what the business should have been, but it's not, man. It's dark. The world is dark. We don't know
dark,
it's dark, man."
Hey, Moo, what you got for us,
right now? He's definitely gonna take himself out in prison. He might kill
You think
himself.
so? You think he will?
Boy, he's not going to have no friends in there. It's going to be very hard time. He's going to have to be isolated 24/7, and that causes insanity. And
yeah, bro, that's what I'm saying, man.
He's going to take himself out behind them bars. You know, he dealt with a lot of black little girls, so a lot of their family, they might be in there. You never know. It's just going to be an ugly situation for him. You know, 30 years, he might do 15, do 20. And get paroled. He might survive, but I think he's going to take himself out. I'll put my money on that. I'm sorry. That's just what I got.
Wow.
I agree, Mook, because you know what's going to happen? Those guys in jail, I don't know if you ever heard the expression, and it's across the board, Mexican mafia, all of them. they don't like what they call short eyes. He's called a short eye because he was doing this and manipulating little girls. They don't like that in jail, man. He's going to get that's why I think 30 years for him, man. He'll be a basket case in 10. You know.
So what do you
He'll be
guys
on the
think about
street, and
this?
everybody's going to walk by him. I'm going to piss on you.
Oh Lord!
I love Dave Chappelle. I'm sorry, man.
He might, guarantee he's going to get that too. He's going to get that treatment.
Wow! Wow! Yeah, it's going to be rough times for R. Kelly.
Yeah, Mook, you're right.
So, what do y'all think about that last guy? Right. So, one more thing to talk about is the guy on Southwest, right? The one that airdropped his picture, the picture of his penis to everybody on the plane.
You know, I thought about that a few times, but I never really followed through with it. I don't see anything unnormal about it. This guy's a lunatic, man. Come on, I'm kidding around. It's crazy back
what
there.
What were you thinking that made you? So the guy, he's on the plane, and he decides to take a photo of his penis and airdrop it to everyone on his flight,
including some young girl.
No, it was a young boy.
Like 14 or it was a little boy.
It was a boy. It was a little boy, and the father was ready to fight him.
Yes. Yeah.
He used to go with R. Kelly.
The cops had to meet them after the flight. I think the guy even apologized for doing it, but he kept continuously looking at the photo next to a TikToker or something like that, or I don't know. Either way, yeah, that's what happened.
That's just a weird person, man. I when you guys were sending me these messages and notes, I'm like, what? A guy did what? And then I turn on the news. I'm driving from work today. I'm going, what the hell are these people? Like, I can't even comprehend that. So how does a normal person react to this? You're behooved. You're just blown away. I mean, honestly, I'm sorry. I think the guy should be arrested and get a year in jail, man.
Oh yeah.
You know, a year and a day, and he'll think twice about ever doing something. You got to be.
What would make you?
And he should get a flip phone.
Think? What would make you think to take a picture of your junk and
airdrop it?
I'm sorry, I can't think. I can't think of it. It's crazy, man. I'm like, you're asking me to think about it.
He airdropped it. This is why smartphones are dangerous. He airdropped it, which and in order to airdrop it, that means he did it from an iPhone.
Maybe he was stoned and drunk. It's wow.
I mean, but that's not even a good enough excuse. Like, why would you take a picture of your wiener and send it to everybody on a damn plane?
I don't know. Don't ask me.
Who is doing that? Unless he hit it by accident and people just
bizarre,
started
man.
It wasn't an accident. Because remember, I sent you guys that story, and when you keep reading and seeing, he continued to.
So, Dutch, what you're saying is he thought of this? Holy shit.
It had to be premeditated. There's no way you just decided on the spur of the moment.
I'm sorry, that's even worse, man.
It is.
I can't wait to get on the plane, man. I know what I'm going to do.
Hey, that's more
because it didn't say that he took a picture of it in his seat, but
Yeah, that's just a pervert. That's just a complete pervert. Honestly, I wouldn't be mad at Pops for whooping his tail. I would not have been mad.
Hey, man, I'm sorry. These people, if you condone this stuff, I'm sorry. Hey, get the hell up. You go to court. If I was the judge, hey, you're getting a year and a day. You act like a moron or pervert. You're not supposed to do that. You cannot expose yourself in public, period, man. That's why we wear pants. I mean, this is really a sickening individual. You can't comprehend it. Any normal person can't comprehend it. Mook, can you comprehend it? You're a man.
He had to have already had the picture. The picture
I know Mook thought about it once. He did mention it.
He went in the bathroom.
Did he do it from the bathroom? Just I just
Yeah.
don't understand.
I don't understand. There are some sick
Having a
ass
phone
people
should be
out
a
there
felony
today,
for
man.
him.
There are some sick freaking people out there today.
I just don't. If it would have been a woman, do you think they would have had the same response? If she'd have like sent her junk?
Oh hell yeah!
No, I don't think so. I
The
would have
hell
took
is
it
this
away from
shit?
my son. Jay, give me that. Let me see what you got here.
And every woman on that plane would have
I
been
don't
so
know,
appalled
man.
that
Okay.
like Twitter would have blew up, Instagram, Snapchat, everybody would have blew up. Every
So
woman would have
now
been
on
so
the
I
pissed
don't
off.
planes,
think as many. I think more people would have been with their mouth open than appalled like they were with this guy. I think when a guy does it, it's like, what the fuck? When a
oh man,
chick
I don't
does
know.
it, people can't believe she did it. Like, and especially if it's nice junk and she sends it. If she sends it all over, I guarantee you, they're gonna talk about it on Twitter. They're gonna talk about it everywhere, but they're gonna be less
She might be the next
consequences.
Kardashian
Do
off
you
that.
hear you guys?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. If it's terrible, if her junk is terrible, oh man, she's going to jail. They're gonna have the police waiting on her ass at the
This is
airport.
unbelievable.
So look, Jim. So
I
I guess
love it,
we'll
man.
go ahead and close out. All right. So at Scott Young, a couple of more comments. Regularly, Jimmy, you're on it. Wow, Jimmy. To that point, some of our most loved entertainers will be exposed. And that was an amazing story about the girl, Jimmy. Thanks for sharing.
Hey,
Mental
man.
health counselor, fuck you. All right, y'all. Let's have a good night. Anybody got
All
some
right,
last closing words?
not me, man.
All right, then.
Shout
Good
out
night.
to
Later.
Later, guys.